Hey guys, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the BRZ. Yesterday we installed a set of Koni adjustable shocks on the car, front and rear, and I wanted to let you know what kind of a difference it's making. Right now everything is set to full soft. The main reason why I wanted to change the shocks out is that I've always thought that the stock dampers are just a little bit too over damped. And the car is probably losing grip because of that. And I was right. So as a result, the car rides a little bit softer now, a little bit better over small road imperfections and then large undulations. It doesn't bounce quite as much. Overall, I'd say it has a little bit more grip. I haven't gotten in alignment yet, but mid-corner it seems to turn in quite a bit sharper. There's less understeer. The car is overall just a little bit more adjustable, and it feels really good. It's definitely not as harsh. And it just has a more sophisticated ride and handling quality to it than before. The springs are OEM stock BRZ springs. I thought about lowering it with maybe like a set of Hotchkiss or Eibach springs, but I honestly didn't really want to worry about ground clearance here in Michigan with the snow that we get and the bad roads. And I mean, I haven't had any issues with ground clearance, and right now my front bumper just barely clears the jack that I put under it to raise the front end up. So I didn't really want to change that, and I'm kind of happy with the ride height as is. It works. I road trip this car, I daily drive it. I don't really want ground clearance issues. And I'm glad I didn't, because the car handles really, really well. There's a little bit of body roll, but overall there's quite a bit more grip. And right now I'm on the stock tires, which I've found to be the most fun tires to drive on in this car, at least on the street, because it lets you move around a little bit. The Falken Azzinis are awesome on the track, and they're really good in autocross, and they're fun on a back road, but they kind of mute the car's personality just a tad and make it so that it's not as adjustable and not as fun to drive. So the car is still running on the Open Flash tablet, off-the-shelf 91 octane tune. It's just the stage 1. I ran it a little bit on E85 last summer, but really, I don't know, I decided it wasn't really worth it. I didn't like having to hunt out gas stations to fill up all the time. And I don't know if it's the extra negative camber that I put into the car, or if it's just the shock tuning in general, but there's so much more turn-in and adjustability. I can really crank the wheel without having that much understeer, which is really nice. And overall, there's quite a bit more grip out of the rear. There isn't as much bounciness, and you know, over bumps I have. I can put down the power a lot better. Brakes feel pretty good. These are just the stock pads. The car definitely responds a little bit sharper. It's still pretty easy to slide around, but it definitely kicks back and responds just a little bit quicker from that extra grip in the rear. ago I drove the new Toyota 86, and I was really, really impressed with how well the car handled, and just the overall ride and quality of the shock and suspension tuning that they've done on that car. I believe they kind of softened up the rear spring rates a little bit, maybe increased some rear sway bar, did quite a bit of shock tuning, and it feels a little bit like this, actually. It feels like a more sophisticated ride, and of course the BRZ has always been a little bit more prone to understeer. The FRS has always been a little bit more prone to oversteer because of the spring and shock tuning between the two cars. But the 86 was just fantastic. It was neutral, it rode really well, it had a sophisticated ride and handling to it, which the FRS and BRZ have never really had. They've always been kind of drift machines. And that's kind of what I wanted to achieve with this. And from the looks of it, on the street, I'm really quite happy with this setup. This is great. And again, just these are the Koni adjustables on stock springs, stock suspension, with a little bit of negative camber up front, and everything is on full soft. I started off with soft and then a quarter turn to stiff, and it was a little bit stiffer than I would like. It didn't quite feel where I wanted it, so I put them all the way to soft, and that was perfect.